Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and welcome this year's inductees into the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, led by Piper Jeff Sim. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the class of 2017, your Hall of Fame inductees for this year. Let's give them a great round of applause. They're multitasking. Thank you very much. My name is Dave Evans, for those of you who don't know me, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening's proceedings. So I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Board of Governors to the 2017 ceremony as we honor one team and 7 individuals, players and builders, into the Hall of Fame this year. I'd first of all like to welcome everybody, especially those who have joined us from out of town. We have people from back east, we have people from various parts of the country and from British Columbia, and as always, we have our overseas visitors from Victoria. Now, I'd just like to mention, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do this year. I'm going to put on my best elementary school teacher scowl and say that this is a very important evening for our inductees, and I'd ask that you please respect that, and when they are speaking, especially when I'm speaking, keep the noise down to a dull murmur out of respect for the inductees. Now, I'd now like to see they're bringing the sound out already, so I'd like to introduce Tony Glavin, who's the Vice Chairman of the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame Board of Governors, to say a few words of welcome on behalf of the Hall.
Thanks. I got enough hot air to fill those balloons a couple times over, I'm sure. So on behalf of the board, it's my honor and privilege to extend a very warm welcome to all the inductees to tonight's ceremonies and their families as well. I think it's a very special moment for the family members who have supported and driven since they were kids to games and practices and just been behind these great inductees who are going into the hall tonight. So a big welcome to them and to the inductees and their families. It'll be a very, I think, obviously a well-deserved tribute, and I hope a very memorable night for all of you and the guests and friends that are here tonight. I can tell you that as a board, we've been looking forward to this for some time. And so we're going to get this going, and I'll speed this up so you guys have lots of time to talk. I was tempted to say a few words because I do know some of the inductees here. Patty Coyle, who's a gentleman, and I couldn't say a bad word about him. And then I know Rick Mang, who was my teammate. And then I thought, well, how much time do I have? But Manger, I have to say this because it was the pinnacle of my lacrosse career, winning the Grand Masters Provincial Championship, and Rick Mang was our goaltender. It was his first year in Masters, I think. And I was the manager of the team, and I said, Manger, we got to be there on time. Everyone's got to show up. I was like player manager. So I'm there 3 hours before the game. It's 10 minutes before the game, and I said, Ivan Tura, where the heck is Manger? And he said, he's on the floor. And I said, what's he doing there? He said, he's playing his third game already. I said, so I reamed him out when he came in, and he said, I got to get warmed up. I'm getting old. Anyway, it's great that that Manger's going in. We start off our Hall of Fame weekend with the hospitality suite, and that allows us to welcome in the people who have come in from out of town at the hotel that they're all staying at. It's a great event. Leah Oyam, Rick Wills from our board have organized that each year. Our board shows up. Some of the past inductees will show up. Our CLA and CLF presidents are there, and it's a really nice way to ice break this weekend and get to know everyone, so that now that you're here, you remember them from last night, hopefully, and it makes this, I think, a lot warmer evening for everyone. So thanks for everyone for showing up, and that was a great kickoff, I thought. I'd also like to mention and welcome the many current members of the Hall of Fame that are here tonight and who continue to come to this banquet every single year. We really appreciate your support, and we very much enjoy your company every year that you come. I started making a list, and Chairman David Lancaster said you can't mention them all because there's so many Hall of Famers here. I'm going to ask, though, that at this time, if you are an inductee in the Hall of Fame, would you please rise, and let's give them a good warm reception. I'm going to take the liberty of mentioning one who's one of my favorites, and it's Murray Lehman's here tonight with Danny. So welcome, guys. Good to see you here as usual every single year. Our acting mayor, I put that in quotes. I don't understand what acting mayor means. But our acting mayor here is Councillor Chuck Puchmayr. You got a few minutes before you come up. I'd like to, and please stand though. Well, Chuck, please stand. Let's give him a round of applause. The reason I say that is that Chuck was a former member of this board, and then we kicked him off and he went to city council. It was an easier gig to get elected on. And he has been absolutely supportive of our board and what we've done to bring this hall into this building and to expand our programs through the funding that he's been able to procure through the city. So Councillor Puchmayr, Acting Mayor Puchmayr, thank you very, very much. You know, I mentioned Rick Mang was a goaltender, but Chuck Puchmayr was actually my first goaltender in Masters too. Absolute sieve. I'd like to welcome the chairman and president of the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, Joey Harris, is here, as he is every year. Joey, thank you. Along with Joey at our head table is, and Joey of course is a Hall of Famer. Jim Burke is a Hall of Famer and the chair and the president of the Canadian Lacrosse Foundation. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for coming every year. 2017 was a very special year in Canada and for lacrosse. Obviously, it was the celebration of our 150th since Confederation for our nation, but it was also the 150th anniversary of the first game of lacrosse and organized lacrosse in Canada. So, and the inception of the modern game in Canada. The Canadian Lacrosse Foundation with Jim Burke, the CLA with Joey Harris, and the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame with David Lancaster all met for a big cultural event, sporting event in Montreal to celebrate those 150 years of lacrosse. I won't steal Jim Burke's thunder. I'm sure he's going to tell you a little bit about it, but it was quite an incredible event. And we, as a Hall of Fame, have obtained a legacy from that, which was the development and building of a display, it's a portable display that we'll be taking around the country, and particularly in BC when it gets out here, that really gives you a history of the 150 years of this great game. So through the funding of the CLF and the assistance of the CLA, They have donated that to, well, we purchased it this morning, actually. I did the contract, but it was a pretty good price. So we'll be receiving that, and then we'll be able to take that show on the road. So thank you very much for that. It was a great thing, and I think Jim will tell you about it. We have, and I'll just say one last thing, is that we have an annual breakfast meeting, Dave Lancaster and I, and Joey Harris and Jim Burke, and we talk about lacrosse in Canada and the future, and how our three national organizations, because we are the three pillars of national lacrosse organizations, how we can work together and promote our game and build it and show our respect to the greats of this game. And I can tell you that I believe our relationship has never been better. We've become, I think, good friends with these two guys, and we have a great working relationship. So thanks very much, guys. It's been a good few years working with you guys. A quick note, Gaylord Powless, the great Gaylord Powless, was inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame this year, last week. And only the 9th lacrosse player to go in. I think we should start throwing nominations in, because we've got some pretty good people just in this room that should maybe be going in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. So well done to Gaylord Powless. How am I doing, Wellesley? How's our time? I know. Okay, I'll hurry up. I got to introduce and thank our board members, the first of whom, of course, is our chairman, David Lancaster. Please stand up, Dave. Dave provides the leadership and vision to our board. He's been excellent, and particularly when you compare him with the former chairman of this board, he's outstanding, I'll tell you. David Soul is here. David, if you're out there, please stand. David Soul is our treasurer and has been one of our most valuable players this year. He's been incredible in building up our website. He's working like a full-time employee on it, and we don't pay him a penny. He's my favorite kind of employee. You've done a terrific job, David, in getting the digital stuff up as well. He's got our Facebook going, he's got our Twitter going, and we've got a lot of communication going. So thank you very much, David Soul. Well done. David Stewart Candy is here. He's our Director of Acquisitions and Archives. Of course, Dave Evans is here, our MC, and he's the chair of the Western Selection Committee. Ted Howe from back east is our Eastern Selection Committee member. And he's on our board. Bruce McDonald here, the head table is on the board. He's one of the best writers and historians of the game of lacrosse, and you're going to hear a lot more about Bruce, not tonight, but when he publishes his next few books. Look for those. Rick Wills, outstanding guy, doesn't talk much, my favorite kind of person. He's a doer, not a talker, unlike me. Corinne Perriman couldn't be here because she's involved with the pros now, so she's left us amateurs in the dust. Is that it? No, of course not. So there really is a person, folks, I want you to give her a huge round of applause. She has taken now this banquet, not only is she our secretary, recording secretary, she's our MVP this year, no question. She's put this banquet together. She's welcomed all you families in here. She has done so much work. She's a businesswoman, runs her own business, and does this work at 5 in the morning. I'm telling you, she's a great leader on our board. That's Leah Oyam. Thanks for everything, Leah. Well done. And she does it with a smile. The final thank yous, the selection committees I've mentioned, thanks Dave and Ted Howe. Dave Evans specifically for being such an awesome MC. You're going to enjoy him tonight. Jeff Sim, the piper, thank you very much. Once again, he comes every year. Ernie Meyer for the table ornaments and settings. I think that's what you call them. We got Art Young doing the video. Thanks, Art. Make me look good. Long shots, no close-ups, nothing under here. Okay, thank you. You'll see, he'll put some of the video up, well, maybe all of it up on our website and ultimately, I believe, on YouTube. So all you folks can share it over Sunday dinner with your whole families over the holidays, maybe, hopefully. Hemlock Printers, thank you very much for these wonderful posters and programs. Thanks to, what's Challoner's first name? Brad Challoner and Jake Elliott from the Stealth, who did these incredible interviews of our inductees. So I would commend to you to go on the website and look at each person. Dave Soul loaded them up, They did these great interviews, and we're doing this every year now for our inductees, so you can get a real great background. Manger didn't even mention me in his interview. I'm surprised by that. Just on hall developments, the last thing then, the last time we were here, we had just gotten 2 new display cases in. We have 2 more new display cases in. These things cost a lot of money. We raised money. Dave Soul got us a great grant, and we were able to get 2 more. So we're displaying more stuff. We're going to be more mobile, and we're going to be more digital, and so those are developments that you can look forward to with the Hall of Fame. Big thanks, Dave Soul, and of course the traveling display from these fellows right here. So in closing, let me just say we hope tonight's going to be a very special and memorable night for all of you as we honor some of the great names to have played or been involved in this great sport. Thank you very much, and I'll introduce Chuck Puchmayr as the acting mayor. Come on up, Chuck.
Thanks, everybody. I bring greetings from the City of New Westminster to the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame induction banquet. Always a very special event for me, looking at the struggles we had to actually get the hall out of that dingy place over on 6th Avenue and convince, I was off of council for a period of time, for a year and a half, and convince them that this was a good fit in the new Anvil Center. Since that, we're almost where we need to be. We're now able to, city has diverted the loan. We no longer want the money from the loan. We want you to put it into the actual Hall of Fame. And so I think the check presentation tonight is going to go directly to the hall, no longer going to the city. So you do good work, and we're almost there. We have pretty well what we asked to do in 2009 when we presented at council. We're almost there. The computers had just got online. I think the first one crashed today, but we're a city that owns its own dark fiber network. We have some of the most advanced fiber technology, so this building's wired, so we're going to see that we can wire it indirectly, and you will have information at 1,000 bits per second, about 10 times what you get at home. So you're going to have the best technology. Because it's Remembrance Day, I just want to just quickly touch on that. We're busy all day today. We start at 9 in the morning with the Governor General of the Netherlands and flag raising at Queen's Park, or at City Hall, because of the involvement of Canadian troops in the Netherlands. And you know, I looked a little bit to see about lacrosse during that time. In the First World War, most of lacrosse, professional lacrosse as we called it, shut down because people were going to war to fight for their country. And here in British Columbia, there were a couple of 3 teams that entered during the war. And there was the Army team in 1943, and then the HMS Discovery Naval Station at Stanley Park. They entered a team. That team ended up in 2nd place that year. And then in the following year, the Patricia Flyers, the RCAF Patricia Flyers entered a team, and they actually lost. Both of the teams that actually did quite well lost to New Westminster in the provincial championships. So there was actually an involvement in the military in keeping lacrosse alive during the era when most people were going overseas to fight. So on that, I want you all to enjoy your dinner, enjoy your stay here. Check out our new media gallery upstairs. You've obviously seen our museum. Check out our Pier Park, some really creative initiatives that we built. And the Hall of Fame is here to stay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, Tony. While Chuck and Tony were speaking, I was looking out over the group here, thinking, how many people could say something bad about Pat Coyle among this group? I lost count. Anyway. As Chuck alluded to, today is a very special day. It's a day when we remember and thank the people who served overseas. I don't know if you've been watching the faces flash by here, but I just happened to notice that a good number of them wearing military uniforms. We're very, very fortunate in this country as a group here that we have the freedom to play kids' games. That's what we do. We play lacrosse, we play soccer, we play hockey, we play whatever. We're just a bunch of grown-ups playing kids' games. We have the freedom to pursue the arts, music, politics. We have the freedom to speak freely about it. And I think we owe a tremendous thank you to the people, the thousands of people in the military who served and continue to serve, men and women alike, many of whom have given their lives to allow us to play kids' games. Now, every year we remember those in the lacrosse community who have passed, and there have been quite a few this year. But I think it behooves us that on a day like this, Remembrance Day, that we also take a moment, I'm sure we already have during the day, but to remember and thank those that have given us the ability and the freedom to be kids. So if you just take a moment of silence to remember these fine people. Thank you very much. Now I'd now like to introduce Hall of Fame Governor Bruce McDonald to come forward and offer a blessing, and we will carry on with dinner. Bruce?
On this occasion, when we celebrate the accomplishments of our Hall of Fame inductees, we are thankful for each other's company, for this wonderful meal we're about to have, and especially for this game that brings us together. Amen.
Now, Tony spoke earlier when he was up here about the involvement that he has had with the Canadian Lacrosse Association and the Canadian Lacrosse Foundation. So this time I'd like to ask Joey Harris, president of the CLA, and Jim Burke, president of the Canadian Lacrosse Foundation, to come forward. And they have a few words to say at first, and then a presentation to make to the Hall of Fame. Guys?
Thank you, Dave. 2017 honored inductees, members of the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Canadian Lacrosse Foundation, I'd like to extend our congratulations to all of the inductees in 2017. This is certainly a reward for your dedication to the game of lacrosse, and your efforts will be recognized tonight and in years to come through this hall. We're very grateful for your contribution to the history and the heritage of this great game. We have a couple of short presentations to make tonight, so I'd like to ask Dave Lancaster, the chairman of the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, to come to the stage, if you would, please, Dave. As Tony said earlier, this past year, we were able to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Canada. And 2017 was also the 150th anniversary for lacrosse in Canada, in that the original sport governing body, the National Lacrosse Association, which is a predecessor of the Canadian Lacrosse Association, came into being. And the 150th anniversary of the rules, which were prepared by a dentist from Montreal by the name of George Beers, also came into effect in 1867. So on the weekend of June the 16th to the 18th in Montreal, lacrosse community celebrated this anniversary with a number of events. Montreal was chosen because of the historical significance of that location to the game of lacrosse at that time. The event was a joint venture, as Tony mentioned, between the Foundation, the Lacrosse Association, and the Hall of Fame, and it included a scripted reenacted game that showed the 1867 era of lacrosse, showed both the traditional game as it was played as a medicine sport between the First Nations people, and then the second part of the event was using the new rules that were brought in 1867, a reenacted game between Native teams and the settlers at the time. There was a series of lectures that involved historians, academics, and practitioners to outline the historical and spiritual significance of lacrosse to the building of our nation. There was the lacrosse exhibit from the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, which was supported with some other historical entities. There was a series of local lacrosse activities that took place throughout the city over the weekend, and the entire event was live streamed and was actually made available to the worldwide lacrosse audience, which is growing continuously. This, just on the side, we just uploaded the information onto the Canadian Lacrosse website. If you if you've got an extra half hour and want to jump on the website and take a look at, there's a video there of the entire weekend, a summary of the weekend, and you can access any of the lectures and things from there too. So we were also, as we mentioned earlier, pleased to use this event as an opportunity to work with the Hall of Fame to develop a traveling exhibit for their use. The initial use of the traveling exhibit was the 150th anniversary celebration, and then the Hall agreed to lend that exhibit to the Ontario Lacrosse Association for a period of 4 months while it's in Eastern Canada and we don't have to pay the transportation to bring it out west. It will be available here to the Hall of Fame in early December, and as Tony mentioned, they're making plans on how they're going to use it. We're very pleased today to present to the Hall of Fame one of the replica sticks that were used in the scripted game presentation in Montreal. In order to put this game on, we worked with 6 traditional stick makers in the East to obtain a total of about 30 replica sticks for the event. This particular stick is a replica 1860 style stick crafted by Onondaga stick maker Alf Jacks. The stick is made from hickory, which the local indigenous people consider to be a sacred wood, and every time Alf cuts down a tree to make lacrosse sticks, he plants a number of new seeds to grow new trees. So, Joey, I'd ask you to present this stick to the Hall of Fame. 5 years ago, the foundation, with the support of the Canadian Lacrosse Association, made a financial commitment to assist the Hall with a portion of their costs to move to this facility. So over the years, this project, along with other projects we've funded for like the traveling exhibit, has helped the Hall of Fame raise its profile to the lacrosse community. We've enjoyed working, first of all, with Tony Glavin and more recently with Dave Lancaster and the entire board of the Hall of Fame, and are pleased to be able to provide some financial assistance. Tonight we're making a $30,000 donation, which completes our 5-year commitment. And over the past 6 years, our total financial assistance to the Hall is something in excess of $220,000. And thank you. We're very proud of that number. We're very proud to be able to assist them here, and we look forward to some more exciting projects with the Hall of Fame in the future. So I'd now like to ask Joey Harris to present this year's check for $30,000 to Dave and Tony on behalf of the foundation.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Joey. Dave Evans asked me to just make a mention. By the way, thank you very much for the money, and this is the real dinero right here. I'm going to get it endorsed over to me, and I'll see you guys in Maui. But, you know, we are a nonprofit, federal nonprofit corporation, and it would be wonderful if you have a few extra dollars or you want to leave a legacy and change your wills and make us a beneficiary. There is a box out there. We've not pushed money and fundraising at these events, so this is the only mention that will be made of it. But you know, in the past, people have been extremely generous, and if you have the opportunity, the box is over there. And thanks in advance if you do so. Thanks.
Artie Webster, your stick's right up here when you want to grab it. Now, I was actually going to introduce the Hall of Famers present, but Tony's already done that, and there's no bloody way I'm going to expect them to get up twice. We'll be here all night. So we'll get right on with what we're here for, the main thing we're here for, and that is the inductions. First things first, I'm sure a lot of people wonder, how does a person get inducted? And I'm sure a lot of you are, you know, in the bar, in the coffee shop, at the kitchen table, whatever, debating who should be in, who shouldn't be in, how did that guy get in, what the hell, what's he doing, whatever. And most of that's about me, unfortunately, but anyway. And then don't nominate anybody. If you believe, if you're a member of a minor association, for instance, and you believe that there are people in your association that are eligible or deserving to be nominated to the Hall of Fame as a builder, do it. If you're a player and you think, or an ex-player, or a member of a senior or junior association, for instance, wherever you are from in the country, nominate people. It's the only way people are going to get nominated. It's like a boomerang. It ain't going to come back unless you throw it. So please, nominate. The nomination form is on the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame website. It's been updated since in the last couple of years, so it's pretty clear, pretty easy to fill out. And now with the wonders of modern technology, things like statistics and all that sort of stuff are readily available. And there's information as to how to get that information on the actual Hall of Fame nomination form. So please nominate people. Now, the procedure for tonight, this is basically going out to the inductees. I will read your bio. Everybody will sit awestruck, wondering how I knew so many big words. And incidentally, speaking of the bios, as I read the bios, there are going to be a lot of statistics, goals, assists, saves, goals against, etc. I don't just pluck those numbers out of midair. And I forgot to do this last year, and it's been bugging me for a year. So I want to send a thank you out to Stan Shillington in the west and to Larry Power Wamper in the east, who have done an amazing job in compiling stats, getting them on websites and so forth. And that stuff is all available to everybody. But it's such a huge, huge help to me. In the past, I have had to pull numbers out of thin air sometimes just so it sounds good. So you'll come forward, receive your plaque, etc., from Dave and/or Tony, who will be up on stage here. Don't forget to stay up here to get your official picture taken, and then you will make your acceptance speech. And just a note about acceptance speeches. A very wise man once said that there's an amazing similarity between acceptance speeches and underwear. And the similarity is that not everyone has the same impression of what is brief. Now, if you're the father or mother of teenage daughters, for instance, your idea of what's brief and their idea of what's brief is way, way, way apart. So when you've made your speech and sat down, let's leave everybody thinking of bikinis and thongs, not boxer shorts. Okay? That's it for my cracks at humor for the evening, so. Maybe, we'll see. Okay, we will now, as I said, start the proceedings, the actual inductions. They will be done in the order I believe that they are in the program. So, Pat, you've got to sit there and sweat because you're last up to bat, buddy.